Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
But there is one person who has been mostly missing from his side in public, former First Lady Melania Trump.
In America, we don't worship government, we worship God.
Melania Trump, known for her quiet lifestyle, rarely grabs headlines. But when she does, it's always big news. As the wife of a popular presidential candidate,
My wife Melania gives the exact same speech.
she's a prominent figure. Beyond her political role, Melania is also a devout Christian. She's shown her faith by meeting with the Pope and openly talking about Christ and the Bible. But recently, Melania surprised everyone with strong words to Christians everywhere. What exactly did she say, and why are Christians shocked by her words? Join us as we unveil Melania Trump's terrifying message to all Christians. Behind the scenes of presidential power, Melania Trump, originally Melania Knavs, was born on April 26, 1970, in Slovenia, which was then part of Yugoslavia. She's a Slovenian-American former model who served as the First Lady of the United States from 2017 to 2021 as the wife of President Donald Trump. She made history by becoming the first naturalized citizen to hold the position of First Lady and the second foreign-born First Lady, after Louisa Adams. Additionally, Melania is the second Catholic First Lady, after Jacqueline Kennedy. Melania began her career as a fashion model at the young age of 16 in Slovenia. Seeking greater opportunities, she changed the spelling of her name to Melania Knaus and ventured to Milan and Paris in pursuit of modeling work. In 1996, she met Paolo Zampoli, who sponsored her immigration to the United States. Once in New York City, Melania continued her modeling career, catching the eye of real estate developer Donald Trump in 1998 through Zampoli's introduction. Their relationship blossomed, and Melania gradually adapted to a more extravagant lifestyle. Donald Trump supported her modeling career, while Melania stood by him during his 2000 presidential campaign. They tied the knot in 2005 and welcomed their son, Barron Trump, the following year. In the lead-up to the 2016 presidential election, Melania encouraged her husband to run for office. While she made few public appearances during the campaign, she played a significant behind-the-scenes role, advising Donald over the phone. However, her campaign involvement garnered attention when past modeling photos surfaced, as well as when a speech she delivered at the 2016 Republican National Convention was found to contain plagiarized passages from a speech by Michelle Obama. In the weeks before the election, she had to deal with the Access Hollywood tape scandal that had caused trouble for her husband. During the beginning of her time as First Lady, she stayed in Manhattan so that she could sort out her prenuptial agreement. While she was settling into her role, her stepdaughter Ivanka Trump took on some of the traditional tasks of the First Lady. Melania didn't jump into a flurry of activities once she moved into the White House. Instead, she often stayed in her living quarters rather than her office in the East Wing. And she didn't host as many events as past First Ladies because of her health and other matters and controversies. However, despite these challenges, Melania focused on children's issues throughout her time as First Lady. Melania closely monitored media coverage during Trump's presidency, offering her insights on what would look good and help maintain his image. She also advised on how to pose for photos and suggested ways for him to present himself in public appearances. Melania's understanding of her relationship with Trump made her tolerant of his unpredictable behavior. She had come to accept that it was futile to try to alter someone's personality, especially that of her own husband. Despite this, Melania held sway over the people working for Trump, and there were occasions when he acted on her suggestions by dismissing certain individuals from his staff. In the final months of her tenure as First Lady, Melania stood by her husband, Trump, and supported his claims of election fraud in the 2020 presidential election. A noble cause amidst slamming. On May 7, 2018, Melania held a press conference in the beautiful White House Rose Garden to unveil her official public initiative as the First Lady, called the Be Best Awareness Campaign. This initiative aimed to support children's well-being, combat cyberbullying, and prevent opioid abuse. Despite its noble goals, the name of the initiative faced criticism from the press due to its unconventional grammar. Unlike the projects of previous First Ladies, Be Best didn't introduce new programs. Instead, it focused on promoting existing initiatives and organizations dedicated to these causes. However, the initiative struggled to gain widespread recognition, often being perceived mainly as an anti-cyberbullying campaign. The Be Best campaign faced criticism for its perceived inconsistency because it aimed to combat cyberbullying. Yet Melania's husband was known for his online attacks on others. Before launching the campaign, Trump had cautioned Melania about the potential backlash due to this contrast. Despite this, Melania acknowledged the discrepancy, but remained steadfast in her commitment to the cause, believing it was important. The situation garnered more attention in 2019, when Trump posted critical tweets about Greta Thunberg, a teenage environmental activist with autism, just days after Melania had rebuked Pamela Karlan for mentioning Barron in a speech against the president. In response, Melania's office emphasized that both she and Trump communicate differently, and clarified that Barron was not an activist like Thunberg who travels globally giving speeches. Melania maintains that the well-being of children holds a special place in her heart, and she frequently visited children's hospitals during her time as First Lady. According to her biographer, Kate Bennett, interacting with children is one of the few things that can bring out a more emotional side of Melania, contrasting with her usual reserved demeanor. Her advocacy played a significant role in her husband's decision to ban fruit-flavored electronic cigarettes, which are often targeted at young users. Around a year into her tenure, Melania hired Reagan Thompson as a policy advisor, even though she hadn't yet launched any official initiatives at that time. In 2018, Melania openly criticized her husband's zero-tolerance policy at the Mexico-United States border, which resulted in the separation of children from their parents. She expressed her dislike for the family separations and hoped for successful immigration reform. Privately, she voiced her opposition to the president and influenced his decision to end the policy. Ignoring her husband's concerns about media attention and the Secret Service's need for advance notice, Melania visited the border herself on June 21, 2021. During her trip to the border, Melania sparked controversy by wearing a jacket with the words, "I really don't care, do you?" on the way to the facility. After facing criticism and speculation about the jacket's message, Melania clarified that it was directed at people and media who were criticizing her, rather than expressing indifference toward the families affected by the border situation. A story of belief and criticism. Throughout his public life, Trump has been vocal about his Christian faith. Unlike many politicians, he hasn't hesitated to express his belief in God, often mentioning him in speeches and demonstrating reverence towards him. Trump's faith isn't just a facade. He genuinely relies on his spirituality for strength. What sets him apart is his openness about his faith, a rarity in politics. In one instance, Trump humbly acknowledged that despite his fame, Jesus Christ remains the most famous figure in history. His words and actions consistently reflect his deep commitment to his religious convictions. Trump has repeatedly emphasized his dependence on Jesus and the importance of Christianity, even going so far as to say that Jesus Christ has had an eternal impact on the world. Despite his position of power, Trump has humbly acknowledged that the United States needs a savior, and it's not him. Melania, known for her reserved demeanor, has equally often shown her strong faith in God, likely influenced by her upbringing. As Melania grew up in Slovenia, the Communist Party openly opposed religion, but Melania's family continued to practice their faith, but discreetly. Melania's father, Viktor Kanavs, had to keep her baptism and First Communion a secret. According to a book titled Melania Trump's Inside Story by Zelba Omo, it's believed that Melania was baptized in secret by the Roman Catholic parish priest of St. Lawrence's Church in Raqqa on June 14, 1970, and she still adheres to this faith today. During her wedding in 2005 at an Episcopal church, Melania chose to carry a rosary instead of a traditional bouquet, symbolizing the deep personal importance of her faith. In 2017, Stephanie Grisham, Melania's spokeswoman, confirmed in an email that Melania is Catholic, but she did not provide details about Melania's church attendance or the family's church affiliation. While she usually keeps her personal life private, her belief in God is an exception. In the same year, Melania visited the Vatican and met with Pope Francis. During their encounter, Melania presented a rosary to the Pope for his blessing. In response, Pope Francis placed his hand over hers and made the sign of the cross, a gesture highly revered in Christian communities. When Melania met the Pope, she chose to wear a black dress and veil, following a tradition observed by many other First Ladies before her. This attire symbolizes respect when meeting the leader of the Catholic Church. Following the meeting, Melania took to social media to express her gratitude, describing the experience as a great honor and humbly acknowledging its significance. Melania has openly spoken about her trust in God and has even led prayers during a national prayer service in 2017. This gesture highlighted the importance of prayer in her life and underscored her dedication to her faith. Melania has also been spotted attending religious services with her family, including Christmas Mass, which further demonstrates her commitment to her Christian beliefs. For Melania, her faith has been a source of strength and guidance. She acknowledges the role of faith in her decision-making process and relies on it for wisdom and discernment. Surprisingly, the Trumps have faced significant criticism regarding their professed faith. Many argue that their public declarations about God and their efforts to appeal to Christians are merely strategic moves to gain support. Consequently, every action and statement from the Trump family is subjected to intense scrutiny and judgment. Melania, in particular, often finds herself in controversy when she publicly shares her faith. One incident that sparked endless debates was when the former First Lady recited the Lord's Prayer at a rally in support of her husband, former President Donald Trump. When the prayer ended, the room erupted in cheers, which made some uncomfortable as it felt more like a cheerleading rally than a solemn moment of prayer. However, the prayer stirred up intense debate about its sincerity. While some accused her of trying to appeal to Christians, others strongly believed it was a true reflection of her faith. The American Family Association, AFA, weighed in, with AFA President Tim Wildman asserting that Melania's recitation was significant. He argued that acknowledging God in public life is a deeply rooted tradition in the United States, dating back to its founding. Wildman even cited President George Washington, who believed that failure to acknowledge God, religion, and morality disqualified one from being considered a patriot. Despite facing criticism, Melania and her husband consistently speak out in public, defending their faith and encouraging others to believe in God and pray. They firmly believe in God and strive to follow what they believe is God's guidance. Melania understands that she can't force anyone to support or trust her. Instead, she relies on her faith in God and sticks to what she believes is right. She continues to draw strength and guidance from her faith. She understands its significance in decision-making and frequently relies on it to make wise choices. A voice of faith and unity. In 2020, during a large protest, Melania halted to offer a prayer for the country. As First Lady, Melania frequently stressed the importance of prayer, hoping it would bring healing to the United States. She expressed gratitude for the kindness and solidarity she witnessed among people during challenging times. Melania urged empathy and understanding, advocating against violence and prejudice based on skin color or political differences. She highlighted the resilience and goodness of the nation, particularly in times of adversity like natural disasters or epidemics. Melania sought grace, understanding, and peace for the country and its citizens through her silent prayers. Melania often found solace in prayer, turning to God for comfort during times of criticism. Though not explicitly stated, her actions underscored her belief in the power of prayer, especially during difficult circumstances. The Bible offers valuable guidance on dealing with adversity and criticism, emphasizing love and forgiveness, as exemplified in Matthew chapter 5, verse 44, where Jesus encourages his followers to love their enemies and pray for those who mistreat them. This principle of responding to hate with love highlights the transformative impact of forgiveness and kindness. Another insightful verse comes from Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1, which advises that responding gently to someone's anger can diffuse the situation, whereas responding harshly will only escalate it. This verse teaches us the importance of responding to criticism with kindness and understanding, rather than defensiveness or anger. It emphasizes the significance of choosing our words carefully and showing kindness, even in the face of cruelty. Additionally, Romans chapter 12 offers valuable guidance on handling hate and criticism. It encourages us not to seek revenge against those who harm us, but to respond with kindness instead. This passage reminds us that responding to hate with more hate only perpetuates the cycle of negativity, whereas responding with kindness can help break that cycle and foster unity among people. The Bible teaches us the importance of prayer, especially when facing hate and criticism. Psalm 104 advises us to turn to God for help when others mistreat us. Prayer can provide comfort and strength, guiding us to respond to difficult situations with kindness and understanding. Melania's faith has also been tested during challenging times, as she faced criticism and negativity. Melania's support for Trump reflects her faith, demonstrating her commitment to standing by her husband. Despite maintaining a low public profile during Trump's presidency, Melania consistently showed her support for him whenever she appeared in public. She emphasized Trump's desire to assist people from all walks of life, regardless of their background or beliefs. Melania highlighted Trump's track record of working with individuals from diverse backgrounds and religions, underscoring his commitment to serving all communities. Through her unwavering support, Melania exemplifies the importance of standing by loved ones and supporting them, even in the face of adversity. Melania expressed her readiness to tackle any new challenges that may arise. She emphasized her willingness to learn about these challenges and their underlying causes. Melania also outlined her intention to continue working on projects aimed at assisting people, ensuring that discussions about the Christian faith remained integral to these endeavors. If she remained the First Lady, Melania was committed to ongoing efforts to support communities. Her dedication to serving others serves as an inspiring model for Christians seeking to make a positive impact in their communities. By emulating her example, Christians can contribute to their communities in various ways. They can follow Melania's lead by striving to bring people together, regardless of differences, fostering a sense of belonging, and promoting understanding and acceptance among all. When former President Donald Trump announced his plans to run for re-election, Melania stood by his side. Although she didn't attend later events, she voiced her confidence in his ability to bring about success and prosperity once more. Melania also reiterated her dedication to using her platform to advocate for the well-being of children if her husband won a second term. She emphasized her ongoing commitment to creating a safe and nurturing environment for children to flourish. Furthermore, she expressed her readiness to tackle any new challenges that might arise, stating, "If more problems come up, I'll make sure to learn about them and understand what's causing them." By following her lead, believers can contribute to their communities in many ways. They can follow Melania's call for unity and inclusivity by reaching out to people from diverse backgrounds, faiths, and financial situations. Creating connections based on love and respect allows Christians to bridge gaps and create a supportive environment for everyone. Melania's focus on compassion and service can guide Christians as they seek to address their community's needs. Participating in acts of kindness, volunteering at local organizations, or organizing initiatives to support those in need are practical ways to show God's love and care for others. Additionally, Christians can follow Melania's example by using their platforms, talents, and resources to advocate for causes that benefit their communities. Whether it's raising awareness about local issues, supporting education and healthcare efforts, or addressing social injustices, believers can make a real difference by speaking up and offering support to those around them. Reviving America's spiritual roots. When we delve into Melania's journey, we grasp the weighty task of sharing God's message. This challenge is underscored by Paul's words. How can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can they preach unless they are sent? These lines stress the vital role of spreading the gospel and honoring those who undertake this mission. Paul further highlights the significance of this task by quoting the prophet Isaiah, who praises those who bring good news and proclaim peace and salvation. Spreading God's word demands our full commitment, our minds, bodies, spirits, emotions, and lives. Despite our imperfections, our actions become beautiful as we carry this message. Early church preachers faced threats and persecution. Acts chapter 4 recounts how Peter, John, and others were persecuted for preaching the gospel. Stephen, in Acts chapter 7, preached to a hostile audience and was martyred for it. Paul, Barnabas, Silas, Timothy, and other missionaries endured persecution while establishing churches. Today, even amidst spiritual apathy and moral confusion, we're called to boldly proclaim the gospel. Though we might not face physical persecution, we're still tasked with serving Christ and speaking on his behalf. In 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12, Paul advises Timothy to set an example in speech, life, love, faith, and purity. A lesson relevant to us today. We must faithfully teach and embody the gospel to each new generation in our communities. Through God's grace, we help others grasp the transformative power of his love. It's our duty to demonstrate to our congregations what it means to have a deep relationship with Christ and live in his grace and love. Even though centuries have passed since the apostles showed us how to spread the gospel, our mission remains the same. But how do we share the message of the gospel today? What methods can we use? No matter the approach, preaching effectively requires the Holy Spirit's guidance and power. Impactful preaching stems from our close relationship with Christ and each other. Spending time with God in prayer, reading the Bible, and serving others strengthens us and enriches our ministry. Romans chapter 15 teaches us that our teaching and preaching should bring endurance, encouragement, and unity to believers. This mission demands our unwavering commitment. Like the Apostle Paul advised Timothy, we must preach the word, be prepared in season and out of season, correct, rebuke, and encourage, with great patience and careful instruction. It's a challenging task, but with God's grace and power, we can fulfill it. Melania sets an example for us with her prayer practice. She often prays publicly, using it as a way to connect with God. Regular prayer is a beneficial habit that we should cultivate and make a part of our daily lives. Sometimes we might feel tired or uninterested when it comes to praying or reading scriptures. It might seem like a boring task instead of a special moment with God. But deep inside, we all want to connect with our Creator, and He wants to connect with us too. So, how do we talk to God, whom we can't see? It's simple. We make it a habit. Even though it's not like meeting a friend for coffee, we can still make it a regular part of our lives, just like any other important relationship. Setting aside time to be alone with God and being intentional about it is really important. Think of it as making plans to meet a friend. Being consistent is crucial, but it doesn't mean doing the same thing every time. Don't hesitate to try new things and find what works best for you. And most importantly, don't give up, even if it feels hard at first. Melania has voiced her profound concern about the waning state of faith among Christians and the perceived weakening of America's bond with God. She believes that the nation is slowly drifting away from its spiritual roots, as seen in the decreasing emphasis on religious values and principles. Melania passionately advocates for a revival of faith, urging individuals to fully embrace their beliefs, nurture a closer relationship with God, and understand the crucial role faith plays in building a morally upright society. She calls on Americans to reflect on their spiritual heritage and strive to restore a deep connection with God. Melania's story serves as a powerful reminder that sharing the gospel is not just for a select few. It is the responsibility of every believer. While we may not all have the same platforms or opportunities as she does, each of us can be a faithful witness in our own circles. We can spread the good news through our words, actions, and the way we live our lives, trusting that God will use our efforts to draw others to Himself. By following Melania's example, we can all contribute to a more faith-filled and spiritually connected society. Melania's quiet role. Since leaving the White House, Melania hasn't been seen much in public. Even amidst Trump's re-election campaigns, Melania continues to keep a low profile, a stance she has consistently been known for. For example, during Trump's 2016 and 2020 campaigns, Melania often chose to remain at home. In a 2015 interview, she explained that her priority was being there for their son, Barron, who was 9 years old at the time. Even after Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, Melania stayed in their New York penthouse, not relocating to the White House until June 2017, to ensure Barron could finish his school year without interruption. According to a recent report, the last election-related event that Melania attended with her husband was his vote casting in the Florida primary in February 2024. When asked if she planned to join him on the campaign trail for the November 2024 elections, Melania simply responded, "Stay tuned." This secrecy has led commentators to portray her as either a reluctant partner to her husband or as a woman lacking independence. In defense of her absence from public events, Trump has consistently emphasized her private nature. She's a private person, a great person, a very confident person, and she loves our country very much. At the appropriate time, she'll be out there, Trump stated during an interview with the press. He also noted, "She doesn't need to be out there," underscoring her preference for staying out of the public eye. Despite the scrutiny and rumors, Melania's dedication to her privacy remains steadfast. Her limited public interactions contribute to an air of mystery, leaving the public to speculate about her role and influence. However, those close to her assert that she is a strong, confident individual with a deep love for her country, choosing to make appearances only when she feels it is necessary and appropriate. In late March 2024, a close aide to Melania told news reporters that she chooses when and how to participate in political functions. As the election approaches, she is expected to become more visible. However, her absence continues to spark missing posters online. These posters feature a picture of Melania with the words, "Have you seen this woman? Where is our First Lady? We miss her." Considering her political status, what do you think about Melania's public expression of her faith? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.